All right, here's how I made beer. This took about 4 hours. I'm going to condense it down to about 3 hours, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. That's the carboy that holds the wort we're going to make. You can see there, and there's a lot of bleach. There's a huge funnel. The funnel is sitting there ready to take some of the stuff in, and you've got different pieces of equipment there, including a suction thingy-dingy that gets the area from the pan, and then, of course, that thermometer measures the alcohol content, too. Now, I shot myself in the mirror there, but anyway, there's all the stuff getting cleansed by the bleach. That is a bag of some crystal malt. That's going to give body and it's going to give some flavor to the beer. And I've got to seep out those grains to get the goodness out of them. So I'm going to put them in a bag, pour them in a bag. That's the bag. It looks like a dirty sock, but it isn't. And that goes in that pot of water for about 140 degrees, and it'll seep for about 45 minutes. There's the light malt extract. It's in liquid form. That if I wasn't doing it that way, I would take barley malt and seethe it out like I showed you the other one. And then, of course, I'm going to add some honey. So that's been done about 150. You can see all the juicy stuff coming out, the water changing colors, because that is some of the stuff, the crystal malt that is seeping out and becoming into a liquid form. In this big pot, I'm going to pour all the malt extract that will be converted into alcohol. This is what makes the beer potent. So that's going in there. It's a light ale, and that's going in there with the honey. And then I'm going to take that. That's been about 45 minutes. That's going to also pour in there. As you can see that go in there right now as it moves in. Then we're going to bring it all to a boil, and it's going to boil for about 45 minutes once it gets boiling. And it tries to foam over. You can see the foam there, but you got to get it to boil. And once it does, I'm going to add the bittering hops, and so they're going to go in, and that's going to give some of the the hops are going to give it the hoppy flavor, I guess. And so that's going to cook for about 45 minutes, and you can see it boiling there. That's after about 45, 50 minutes. Then I got to put in the next set of hops, which is going to give it the aroma, the smell of the beer. So that's going to go in. I got a bag of ice, because what's going to happen is as soon as I get to take it off the boiling, I'm going to drop that ice in the bucket to cool it down, and then it's eventually going to get siphoned. And there's the siphon. It's going to get siphoned out of there into that big carboy down through the funnel. And so you can see that all set up there. Once that's done, I've got all the wort in the container, and then I'm going to have to fill it up with some water. As a matter of fact, I bought some spring water, Deer Park spring water, and ran out of that. So then I just poured some Durham tap water in there, but brought it up to 5 gallons because the whole purpose here is to make 5 gallons of beer. So we pour that in there. Then I'm going to measure the potential sugar content, which can tell you the potential alcohol content. So I did that and came up with something like 1.07, which translates to a pretty potentially potent beer, maybe a 7% alcohol content. So that's pretty strong beer if it all converts. Have to add the yeast because the yeast will eat away at the sugar. So I'm adding the yeast, if I can figure out how to cut it, and put that in there. And once that goes, within 24 hours, the thing will be bubbling and converting the sugars over into alcohol. So I'm going to pour that in without spilling it. And then I'm going to cap it all up because you want to keep the oxygen out after you pour all that yeast in. You want to make it a sterile environment. So the liquid yeast goes in, then I cap it up. There's an offshoot tube coming out. If it bubbles over, it'll go into that tube. And within 24 hours, that should be bubbling as the yeast will start to make the sugars into alcohol. That's day one.